Hey, it's Rob Rawlings. Wanted to show you a little project I have going on. And as you might have seen, if you're a friend of mine, I use and have been playing with an old vintage Slingerland drum set. Been acquiring pieces, Niles badge kind of stuff, 70s. And I can show you what I got going on here. You can see I've got a few drums. Now, the problem with these old drums, you get the bearing edges back in line, you maybe some separated plies fixed and some of the hoops are warped. You got to fix some of those things. These drums sound incredible. But one of the problems in my mind is the mounting system. And it's not that it's a terrible mounting system, this old Setomatic stuff. It's just that it's old. And the adjustability is also not as good as some of the modern stuff. So I'm coming up with some solutions, and I'll show you what I've come up with. So the idea here is I'm going to remove the Setomatic hardware from the tom-toms, the mounting system, and I'm going to use the Atlas mount, the Ludwig Atlas mount. So we're going to take a look at the Atlas mount. I bought this box of 3. And when you open up the box, you can see inside here that the Atlas mount itself comes with the mounting hardware, a memory lock, and 2 nylon pieces. If you use 12.7 millimeter mounting arm, you don't need these. But if you're using the smaller tom arms, the L-armed style, then like on a Tama mount, then you would need the nylon there. Here you see the Setomatic mount bracket on a 14-inch tom-tom. And you can kind of get an idea of just how much landscape that thing takes up. It's a lot of mass sitting against the drum, and as most people would think, it probably chokes off that shell a little bit. Here is one that I had removed. And you can see, the fading, or actually the darkening of the finish, and the whole thing, a little bit more original color probably there. And you can see some of the imperfections of where that set there. Now you may want to fix that. Right now I'm just leaving that out. I'm just leaving it like that. Now I'm going to roll this around here, and you can see I have attached the Atlas mount. Now what you have to do is remove the lug casing. This replaces the lug casing, and it acts as the mount for your tom arm and what you tension your hoop down with. You can kind of get an idea of what that might look like from a little bit further back. Before I show you how to put one of these on, you can see these 2 toms. They are attached and mounted and ready. I'm using some Gretsch tom arms brackets that I had, 12.7 millimeter. Now if I back up a little bit, get an idea of kind of what it looks like on the set. I think it gives it a pretty nice look, and it gives it the adjustability that I'm looking for. Okay, so this 14-inch tom is going to be the next one. I'll show you how I do it. The first thing I do is I'm going to loosen each of the lugs to gently and evenly so that I can hopefully keep from warping anything further than it already is with age. Okay, so I did that. Now next I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to use power drill with a drum head key type bit, and I'm going to loosen all those up. think I got them all. Pull that off, and I'll stash it over here for the time being. And you're going to see now the inside of the drum, old Slingerland. You can see the Tom Mounts. Someone had used a little wood putty of some sort to try to mitigate some inner ply problems. That hole there is from muffler, internal muffler. See there the M stamped in there from maple. And this is a natural maple finish. Someone, again, prior owner of this drum, decided they'd like to put a little putty in there. I'm probably going to fix that eventually and do a better job, but for now, that's where we are. I'd like to check out the bearing edge while I got the thing off. I've actually looked at this before, and this one is actually in pretty good shape. There's really no ply separation or anything like that. The next step is the removal of that tom bracket, and I'm just going to use this old crescent wrench I have here, being very careful not to scratch anything. I'm going to loosen each of those and remove it. All right, quick flash to the future. It's removed. You can see it from the inside, and then from the outside. A little blemish there in the finish. Now, I know some people are going to think, okay, why don't you just leave the old mount on there and then put the Atlas mount on if you're going to do this project, Rob? Why go all that trouble? I wanted to get the mass off of the shell. I wanted to get the metal off of it and allow that shell to vibrate more was kind of the idea. And I may eventually do something about it. Might just leave it like it is. So if I ever want to put the original mounts back on, a lot of collectors would probably, smack me around. It's like, why don't you keep it original? Well, it's a player kit, and I need it to be for that purpose. So the next step is figuring out which of these lug casings we're going to remove and put the Atlas mount on. So for this 14, it's actually going to be used in conjunction with another mounted 15. There she is over there. So the actual positioning is going to be much like I have on the 12 and 13 I showed you earlier. I'll show those again. The positioning of those, the 14 is going to be positioned much like that 14, or like that 12, sorry. So the one I want to use is going to be that one, the one to the left of the logo. I want to see that old Slingerland logo when these are being played. So if I want to remove this, I could get a wrench that size. I could use a socket. I could use any number of tools. I could use the drill with a bit that fits that because they're very small. But for me, I'm going to use ye old tiny crescent wrench, and I'm going to go by hand and just do it nice and slow. I can adjust this, obviously. That's why these were invented. And I can loosen these, be gentle, making sure not to damage anything. Sometimes these old parts could be they could break on you when you least expect it. Once again, jumping ahead in time, you can see I've removed the lug casing, old Slingerland style, the small Tom Mount style. I forget what the number they call that. Inside you can see the spring, and there's a little piece of felt there, keeps that spring from vibrating. I believe that was done that way from the factory at this point. If not, someone took the time to kind of go in there and add that felt back there. I've been known to do that myself with old sets. View from the inside. There's the mounting holes. Make you dizzy a little bit, spin around here. You see the outside. Boy, they weren't real careful with drilling those holes out back in those days. You can see a little bit rugged. Love some Slingerland, but sometimes the craftsmanship, they might have taken a long time to make great bearing edges or something along those lines, and then got in a hurry on the holes they drilled out. So here's where you get to see kind of the cool stuff about the Atlas mount. The bottom is adjustable. I gotta get a good angle. I apologize for that. Okay, here we go. To fit different hole spacing on different drums. You can see it comes with 2 washers, 2 nuts, and it comes with some rubber gasket type spacer shell protector type things. One's thick, one's thin. Using the thin ones. So those will go right on there like that. If you're looking to use this on your drum, you want to make sure that the hole spacing of the drums you're trying to attach it to is not wider than this. So you'd have to do a little research. You can look that up on the internet real easy. Maybe I'll figure it out and pop it on this video for you. Fits a Slingerland real well, and it definitely fits pretty much anything Ludwig because it is a Ludwig product. And I know it does not fit the hole spacing for the bass drum lug casings on my Slingerland. Those are quite a bit wider. Okay, we're inside the drum, and I'm going to take the Atlas mount and put it on the outside, making sure to not scratch things, fit the bolts through the hole, and then I'm going to hand fit washers and nuts. It's loose, just kind of hanging there, and then use my trusty crescent wrench here, and I will go ahead and tighten those. And I'm not going to overly tighten them. These 3-ply shells in the Slingerland, you know, they're not super thick. That's why they have the rings, the reinforcement rings, whatever you want to call those things. It kind of helps with the hoop solidity. So I'll use this, and I can be very careful not to over tighten like I might with something with a powered wrench, or even using a socket. And attached, you can see here. There's the view from the outside. So the next step is simply remount my drum head, and then we'll see how that works. We'll see how that goes. You'll notice that the tom mount on this one is in the back of the drum, more or less. So there's the front, if you will. So pretty much, we could put that Atlas mount on any of the front 4 lugs, depending on how you'd like to do it, and that would still be hidden from your view, from the audience standpoint. However, you're probably going to get some air blowing on you, standing behind that, smacking that drum. I don't mind that. It gets hot at the gig sometimes. And here it is, mounted up on the drum, ready to utilize. I did a little test, you know, earlier on. Well, I've had these drums a while, so I've always been testing them, but I can tell you that the shell is ringing more. It is giving a little bit more warmth and sustain to the sound, and give you some options. And you can always take sustain down with muffling and things of that nature, tuning. This drum already sounds better. Cell phone's not going to do it justice, so I'm not going to bother to really give it a whack to let you know. But there we go. Had a question already from a friend. Yes, it's like, okay, Rob, so well, doesn't that put undue stress on the shell? And the way it's designed, with those big washers on the inside, you can see there's a little space there between the two. It isolates off the shell. I've not noted any issue, and I've been smacking the 12 and 13 for a little bit now with Atlas mounts. And I've got my 8 and 10 concert toms mounted up too. I'm going to be giving them a little test drive on it as well. Well, I'll probably check back in with another low-quality cell phone video showing you guys some things regarding these Atlas mounts. I guess the last thing I'd say is I'm not a spokesman for this product. The jury's still out. I know you can use these, mount it. You can replace any lug casing, basically, if it fits the hole spacing with that adjustable bottom part to the Atlas mount. You could put floor tom legs. So I could put 3 of these on this drum, make it a floor tom, put it on the bottom lugs or what have you. Might be an interesting way to do some neat things. Anyway, that's it for now. See you later.